This week in Jamaica Now. Pembroke Hall teacher under probe after threatening student with violence. Mother arrested for assaulting teacher. Then a biting affair. Kingston College footballer slapped in the face after sinking his teeth into a JC striker. Ardenne past student is the 2020 Rhodes Scholar Koffee among 5 nominated for Reggae Grammy. Opposition facing backlash after failing to substantiate claims of massive scandal at RADA. And a plea from the children to end violence against them.
We love our country, but we hate the violence.
I'm Damian Mitchell and this is Jamaica Now. A high-level probe has been launched into a video-recorded tirade by a teacher of the Pembroke Hall High School in St. Andrew who threatened a student with violence. In the video, the enraged teacher eventually ordered the boy to leave the classroom as he protested her referring to his mother. In the meantime, the Pembroke Hall principal, Reverend Claude Ellis, says the teacher and student have both submitted statements as the probe gets underway. And in a voice note obtained by the Gleaner, the teacher, Marcia Lee Crawford, conceded that she lost it in the encounter with a child. She said the boy was earlier shouting insults at her and a female student who complained that he may have stolen her cell phone.
What you saw in the video was when the girl came back from Mr. Salmon with the report, handed it back to me and said, Mr. Salmon read it, and started again, hurling insults at the girl and shouting at me. And that is when I lost it and responded to him. And that is what you saw in the video.
Meanwhile, the Jamaica Teachers Association has expressed outrage at recent attacks against school administrators and teachers. The JTA is urging parents and other stakeholders to use non-confrontational alternatives to settle disputes. The alarm came hours after a mother was arrested and charged by the St. James Police on Thursday after she allegedly attacked and injured a teacher on the compound of the Cornally Avenue Primary School in Montego Bay. The accused, 29-year-old Jodie Ann Dixon, a sales representative of Paradise Norwood, has been granted station bail in the sum of $50,000 and is booked to appear in the St. James Parish Court on January 15, 2020. An incident on the field of play during Thursday night's Manning Cup semi-final has overshadowed Jamaica College's advance to the final over Kingston College. KC's Khalifa Richards picked up a slap to the face after biting JC's Shadane Lopez. JC advanced 5-4 on penalties after a 0-0 draw in regulation time.
Come on, Khalifa Richards. There are cameras here, you know.
In the earlier semi-final, St. Andrew Technical High School progressed to their second final in 3 years after defeating Wolmer's Boys 4-2 on penalties after a 1-1 scoreline in regulation time. 23-year-old Ardenne High School past student Samuel Bailey is the 2020 Rhodes Scholar. Bailey holds a Bachelor of Laws degree with first-class honors from the University of the West Indies and is now bound for the prestigious University of Oxford. He was recently called to the bar and was a runner-up for the 2019 Rhodes Scholarship. He was calm on Thursday when he called his parents to advise them of the achievement. Rapture, the 5-song EP by teenage sensation Koffee, is among the 5 nominations for the Reggae Grammy Awards. She is the youngest nominee in the category. More Work to Be Done by Third World and Steel Pulse's Mass Manipulation are among the 5 nominations in the reggae category. The other 2 albums nominated in the category are As I Am by Julian Marley and The Final Battle, Sly and Robbie vs. Roots Radics by Sly and Robbie. The 62nd Annual Grammy Awards takes place on Sunday, January 26, 2020 at Staples Center in Los Angeles. The opposition People's National Party is facing public backlash after the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, dismissed claims about a major scandal at the agency. At a press conference this week, opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips and his agriculture spokesperson Victor Wright claimed that RADA had diverted $1.6 billion from a farm road project to a bushing project in the parish of St. Thomas. They also said the opposition had turned over information they had to the Auditor General and called for a financial probe. However, RADA has dismissed the allegation as baseless. It said that the document cited by the PNP was essentially a compilation of information for data purposes. The Jamaican man who admitted to posting nude pictures and videos of his ex-girlfriend, American television anchor Darrieth Chisholm, has been sentenced to 2 years in prison and fined $1 million. Donovan Powell turned to revenge porn after the woman ended their romantic relationship. He was sentenced in the Corporate Area Criminal Court on Friday afternoon, 4 months after he pleaded guilty to 3 counts of malicious communication.
I was so humiliated and so embarrassed and so ashamed. I felt like my world was coming to an end. And yet this began for me. Months of pain and depression and anger and confusion and silence. He'd even threatened to kill me. He told me that he would shoot me in my head and stab me in my heart simply because I wanted to end the controlling relationship.
Powell's sentence has been put on hold pending an appeal against the penalty. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may tune in to Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, 3 children and an 18-year-old addressed Parliament on Tuesday during a special sitting in recognition of World Day for the Prevention of Child Abuse and Violence. Here's a recap.
Honorable adults, listen to us, please. Many of us are afraid to go to school, afraid to go home, afraid to go outside in our communities. We live in fear that we will be the next victims of violence. We hate the violence that is making children so afraid, the violence that is taking their lives.
When I came to Kingston, a family member used to ask me, whenever I visited her, if my grandfather was touching me. She asked me this question a few times before, and every time I told her no. Not because I was afraid, but because I was confused about what was happening to me, because no one took the time to tell me about good touch and bad touch.
Many of us are being bullied. Many of us are being beaten. Many of us are being sexually and emotionally abused. And we are being murdered. This violence started in the days of slavery, and to this day it continues. So I ask you, what are you doing to help break the cycle?